Welcome everyone to this explainer. If you've been glancing at the news lately, you might feel like the whole world of artificial intelligence is just splintering into a dozen confusing, completely disconnected storylines. You've got massive defense contracts over here, record-breaking corporate earnings over there, explosive courtroom drama, and intense global trade shifts all happening at the exact same time. It's a lot to take in. But what if I told you these aren't disconnected stories at all? Today we're going to take this disjointed news cycle and frame it as one thrilling, cohesive look at the different battlegrounds where the future of AI is actively being fought over literally right this second.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, the Pentagon's vendor lock-in hedge. Second, Apple's capital-light AI strategy. Third, Musk's secret OpenAI channel. Fourth, China's sovereign AI compute. And finally, number 5, the AI ROI reality.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the Pentagon's vendor lock-in hedge. To really grasp what's happening with these massive, highly classified new AI deals, you have to understand the core strategic logic the Defense Department is using here. It's called a vendor lock-in hedge. The military's official AI platform, GenAI.mil, is already a massive success. We're talking 1.3 million personnel using it in just 5 months. But the Pentagon absolutely refuses to be tied down. By building an architecture with multiple simultaneous providers, they're physically constructing an infrastructure that prevents reliance on any single company. Think about it. If one tech giant suddenly decides they have a strict ethical objection to a specific military operation, it doesn't matter. The system just routes around them. It is the ultimate flexibility.
And to execute that hedge, the Pentagon just granted 8 companies access to Impact Level 6 and Impact Level 7. Now, just to put that into perspective, IL-7 is the absolute highest tier of cloud security. We are talking top secret data. The list includes the heavy hitters: Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, OpenAI, Google, NVIDIA, SpaceX, and Oracle. But wait, look at that last name, Reflection AI. They are a newer NVIDIA-backed startup with an AI coding agent called Asimov. The Pentagon is bringing a startup into a top-secret environment right alongside the legacy tech giants as a government-preferred coding alternative. It's just an extraordinary endorsement of diversifying their toolkit. But you might have noticed one massive name missing from that list of 8. Anthropic. Until recently, Anthropic's Claude was the only model available in the Pentagon's classified network. Now, completely shut out of this new deal. And the rhetoric is incredibly heated. During a Senate hearing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth actually called Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei an ideological lunatic. But here's the fascinating kind of wild contradiction. At the exact same time the Defense Department is hurling insults and shutting Anthropic out of these contracts, the White House is reportedly trying to draft an administrative off-ramp to bring Anthropic back into the fold. You've got 2 branches of the executive pulling in completely opposite directions, negotiating in public with the volume turned all the way up.
Let's shift gears to Section 2, Apple's capital-light AI strategy. $111.2 billion. That is Apple's record-breaking March quarter revenue, up 17% year over year. This massive number was driven by a 22% jump in iPhone sales, fueled by just extraordinary demand for the iPhone 17, and an all-time record of nearly $31 billion in ecosystem services. But you know what makes this number truly staggering? It's not just how much money they made, it's how little they spent to make it, especially when you compare them to their rivals.
This right here is the crucial point, the staggering difference in spending. Microsoft and Amazon are pouring roughly $190 to $200 billion annually into capital expenditure. They're building massive data centers, laying cables, buying millions of server chips just to win the cloud AI race. And Apple? Well, they spent just $4.3 billion in CapEx for the first half of 2026. This is what we call Apple's unique capital-light AI strategy. They don't actually need to win the massive infrastructure race because they already own the delivery mechanism, the iPhone sitting right in your pocket. And the returns on this capital-light strategy? Phenomenal. By focusing on-device silicon and ecosystem services, and by the way, confirming that their Apple Intelligence collaboration with Google is going super well, Apple expanded its gross margin to an incredible 49.3%. So instead of taking $100 billion and throwing it at speculative infrastructure builds, Apple's board authorized a $100 billion stock buyback. It's just a completely different bet on where the actual value of AI accrues.
All right, let's move on to Section 3, Musk's secret OpenAI channel. From corporate strategy, we're pivoting to the deeply personal and highly publicized legal drama, the close of Week 1 in the explosive Musk versus Altman trial.
Setting the scene here, the court took a break for a long weekend, putting the jury under strict instructions not to research the case. Elon Musk had actually testified for 4 days straight, but the biggest bombshell for the jury to ponder didn't come from his testimony. It came from newly introduced documents surrounding Siobhan Zealous. Just listen to this text message from February 16, 2018. Note the date? That's the exact same week Musk officially stepped down from the OpenAI board. Zealous writes to Musk, "Do you prefer I stay close and friendly to OpenAI to keep info flowing or begin to disassociate?" Musk responded that she should stay close and friendly. This text proves that Zealous, who Musk described in court variously as a chief of staff, close advisor, and the mother of 4 of his children, was actively acting as a covert liaison. Legally speaking, that text message is devastating. It's a double-edged sword that cuts right through Musk's core narrative. See, Musk's legal claim relies heavily on the idea that he was this blind-sided outsider, kept entirely in the dark about OpenAI's transition to a for-profit model. But this text, it shows he had a trusted informant inside the organization, keeping the info flowing for years. Plus, it really bolsters OpenAI's defense. They claim Musk wasn't acting out of fidelity to the nonprofit mission at all, but rather that he wanted inside control and was actively trying to poach OpenAI personnel for Tesla, using Zealous as cover. You simply could not simultaneously be the insider getting active information flows and the completely blindsided outsider. That is the massive contradiction the jury is wrestling with right now.
Zooming out from the courtroom, let's head to the global stage for Section 4, China's sovereign AI compute.
The key concept to wrap your head around here is inference localization. For a long time, the global AI market was highly dependent on U.S. hardware, specifically NVIDIA chips. But with heavy U.S. export controls firmly in place, Chinese tech firms aren't just sitting around twiddling their thumbs waiting for the geopolitical winds to change. Instead, they are building their own sovereign, self-reliant compute hardware ecosystems from the absolute ground up.
To put that into perspective, Huawei expects its AI chip revenue to jump from $7.5 billion in 2025 to roughly $12 billion in 2026. That is a massive 60% surge in a single year, and it's driven almost entirely by skyrocketing domestic orders for their Ascend 950PR hardware. They are completely bypassing American hardware limitations. But you know, hardware is really only half the story. You have to prove it actually works at scale. And well, they have. The DeepSeek V4 preview is officially live. We are talking about a flagship, world-class AI model with 1.6 trillion parameters and a 1 million token context window running natively on that exact Huawei silicon. This confirms sovereign parity. It proves that this localized infrastructure isn't just some theoretical backup plan, it is actively powering Tier 1 artificial intelligence right now.
Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 5, the AI ROI reality.
So bringing all these battlegrounds together, the overarching takeaway here is the undeniable reality of AI's return on investment. The show me the ROI crowd, yeah, they've had a very bad week. From Microsoft and Google to Amazon and Apple, the entire tech stack is generating very real record-breaking revenue. We are watching AI rapidly rewrite everything. It's restructuring military alliances and top-secret security clearances. It is driving $100 billion shifts in corporate valuations and capital expenditure strategies. It's literally at the center of the most bitter courtroom battles of the decade. And it is physically altering global power dynamics as entire sovereign compute networks are spun up to rival the West. The future isn't something that's just going to happen to us, it's actively being fought over, built, and deployed right now across all these fronts. So I want to leave you with this question. As AI rewrites the very foundation of the modern world, where do you fit into this rapidly shifting landscape? Think about that, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.